Welcome to the first episode of the Coaches Show on WHCR. This is Paul Beals. Today we are joined by head coach here at Western Hills, Coach Blake Moylan. Welcome, Coach Moylan.
Thank you, Mr. Beals. Appreciate it. I'm glad to be here.
So tell us a little bit of history of who is Coach Moylan. How long have you been coaching?
Well, I've been coaching since 1999. So I got at college, played college football in Pennsylvania. When I graduated college, moved to Texas. Actually started in Fort Worth ISD at Pascal. Actually at McLean Middle School. Was there for 1 year. Did 2 years at Pascal High School. Left, moved to Pennsylvania. Coached in Pennsylvania for about 8 years. And then came back down here and have been coaching. So altogether, it's been about 23 years of coaching and 2 head coach stints. I was a head coach in Pennsylvania for 4 years as well. As being the head coach here at Western Hills.
Very good, very good. I believe that you and I started at Western Hills about the same year, about 2014. I believe that's correct, from what your recollection is?
Actually, that's when I started as the head football coach here. I actually started here in 2012. Looking back, I was a defensive line coach here at Western Hills for 2 years before taking over as the head coach. Worked for John Naylor here at Western Hills for 2 seasons as a defensive line coach. And then when Coach Naylor left, was lucky enough to get the opportunity to become the head coach in 2014.
Very cool. Very good. What are some of the changes that you've seen in the Western Hills athletics department since you've been here?
Well, obviously we've had a lot of changes over the last 8 years or so. Obviously with the opening of Benbrook High School, it definitely changed the enrollment numbers. When I started here, I want to say we had 1,500, 1,600 students, whereas now we're down to about 900 students. So that's probably the biggest changes is the enrollment size. We went from 5A to 4A. Obviously, the district has been making some improvements. The turf fields, the field houses, all of those things that they've done to help us out on our end. Has definitely improved athletics. As far as Western Hills as a whole goes, I think we're starting to hit our stride, and I think that we're doing a great job with it. I want to say every major sport except for one made the playoffs last year at Western Hills, which is something we're proud of, something we would definitely want to continue.
And talking about that, that was going to be my next question, but basically I know that last year you were able to accomplish a major goal that the football program has been trying to do, and that is make the playoffs. How did that feel for you and for the whole program as a whole?
It was something that we've set our goals on for a while now. We felt like we had a chance a few years ago. We had a class that had 36 seniors in it, including a quarterback by the name of Zach Smotherman. And Zach did a great job for us. The quarterback unfortunately got hurt, I believe, week 5, and kind of derailed our season a little bit. But we felt like we should have made the playoffs that year and felt like we could have made the playoffs that year. You realize how quickly a high school quarterback is important to you when you lose one like that. And, so we did a great job that season. Then we came back and we felt like that was the last year that we had the full enrollment of kids, and then we lost our enrollment, and so year 4 of I hate to say the new Western Hills, but the changed Western Hills. We felt like in year 4 we did a great job of getting the program back to where we needed to be, and now we tell the kids that the expectation is to make the playoffs. The expectation has to be that we're going to make the playoffs, and that we're no longer hoping to make the playoffs, but we expect to make the playoffs.
One of the most amazing things that I've had you do with me over the last couple of years is you let me have access to what's called Huddle, which is your video program. And one time I was pulling off some stuff, and you said basically, that's not the right year. Literally, you saw in less than about 2 minutes that you knew exactly what player that was, what everything that was. That brings up a question of how often do you keep up with your players from past years?
We try to keep up with them as much as possible. A lot of times the guys go off to school, or they're going off to the military. We had one come home the other day and stop by. He had been in Japan with the Navy and had played center for us for a few years, Lawrence Dukes. And then we have we just posted something yesterday about Jared Mendoza, who did a great job at McMurray. So we try to keep up with them as much as possible. I think back to my high school. I always enjoyed going back and visiting with my coaches as much as possible. But as they get older, you lose that touch with them. Obviously, now that we have the social media, we can kind of keep up with them a little bit better with social media and some of those tools. And it's fun to see. It's fun we want to see how successful they are and what they're doing and keep up with them. And it's something that we keep pride in is making sure that our young men are going off into the world and hopefully being successful.
Well, and I know that you've said this several times, and the two mottos that I hear from you so much is that it's not just about football, but about creating young men, and then also next person up, because you have such a small program that you basically have people playing both ways sometimes.
We do, and we've always said once a Cougar, always a Cougar. So that kind of goes back to that previous question of keeping up with those guys, and that's something we don't just say, we mean. We tell the guys we love them all the time, and again, it's not just something we say, we mean it. That next man up mentality has to be something, and you hear it from Pee Wee to the NFL, that next man up mentality, and sometimes that's harder than the words, but. We do have a smaller program. We have been lucky the last 2 years to be able to pretty much be two platoon, which means that we don't have two-way starters, which is something that we've been trying to do and have finally gotten to, and have been able to do it the last 2 seasons. But of course, that's a year-to-year thing, just depending on what kids we have in the program and whether or not we think we can do it.
The first 2 games of this year were against Creekview and then Mineral Wells. Those games were losses on the schedule, but tell us, what were some of the positives that you can be taken from those losses?
Well, the first game of the year against Creekview, I think that was such a weird game because we had so many kids out. We had, the year started off with a bang, as you say, and we lost about 8 starters off the team, mostly on the defensive side. And, there was conversations of, do we need to play? And we talked with the kids, and the kids wanted to play. So we went out and played and unfortunately lost that game. But we played well. We played, I think we had 411 total yards of offense in that game. We just ran out of bodies, and if you were at the game, you saw that we just didn't have enough bodies on the field in order to finish the game. Then we went into Mineral Wells, and Mineral Wells is a program on the rebound. I believe they're 4-1 now. They started off the season 4-0. New head coach. They're running a different offense than they have in the past, so they're starting to believe a little bit. And they had a couple of really good running backs back there. Once again, we kind of shot ourselves in the foot to start the game and got down 19-0 after about 10 minutes in the game, and then the remaining 3 quarters, we outscored Mineral Wells 20-19. So we talked a lot about starting out fast and starting off and getting at it right away. That we can't dig ourselves out of a hole before the game even starts.
Okay. The last 2 games were against Poly and Diamond Hill Jarvis, both wins. It seems easy wins at that, but what were some of the positives that the team learned from those wins?
I think the defense has been playing outstanding. For the most part, we've had pretty good defense for the last 3 games. Even going back to Mineral Wells, we played them pretty tough on the defensive side of the ball. We kind of throw out that first game because we did have so many different faces in there for that first game, as many starters as we had out. But definitely the positives have been the kids coming around and understanding the big picture of these are non-district games. We just need to continue to get better. And then obviously Diamond Hill Jarvis was our first district game and came out and won pretty handedly. And the kids came out and just played well. They knew what we needed to do, and we were very excited with the offense. They came out and played fast. I listened to your broadcast yesterday, and that's what you guys kind of said was, man, they're moving. And, we were excited to see that as well. We want the kids to get out and play fast, not wait for that first quarter to kind of warm up. We got to get going from that first whistle.
I know that last week we saw one of the leaders of your O-line go down with an injury. That player happens to be your son, RJ. First off, can we have an update of how is he doing? How is he feeling?
He's doing good. It was a toe injury, which is kind of a funny injury to have. We talked to Doc Amon, and in 29 years of Doc Amon being an athletic trainer, he'd never seen anything like the injury that RJ had. But he's doing okay. The biggest problem was that they had trouble trying to get it back in place, and That's what required him to go to the hospital in the first place. But he's doing great. He's walking around on it. Was able to put some weight on it. So he was walking around, starting to ride the bike a little bit. So we're excited about where he is.
When can we expect him back in on the field?
Well, we're hoping to get him back as soon as possible. I think obviously this week he's not going to be able to play. If you've ever hurt your big toe, you realize how much you use your big toe. Or maybe I should say that the other way. You don't realize how much you use your big toe until you hurt your big toe. Unfortunately, it's funny. I broke my big toe in high school as well. And I was out for 3 weeks. So that's kind of the timeline that we're thinking. It's probably 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay. I realize I'm following the team a little bit closer this year because of the broadcasting on WHCR radio, but I don't remember seeing a lot of number 42, Jason Green, before this year. Was I just not paying enough close attention, or is Jason having a breakout senior year?
Well, Jason had a pretty good season last year. I want to say Jason ran for about 700 yards last year as a junior. Jason's a great kid, has come a long way. We did grades yesterday. He was on the AB honor roll yesterday, and has just really turned into a fantastic young man that we're happy to have in the program. But Jason ran for about 700 yards last year. We expected Jason to have a pretty big season this year. He hit the weight room hard. He got bigger. He got stronger. He got faster, and all of those things are things you're seeing on the field. Against Diamond Hill Jarvis, he got 3 carries for 9 yards. He had been averaging probably 18 carries a game prior to that. So, we definitely want to get him back into the program and get him back into the system and get him some more carries this week.
Well, that's one of the things, and Jason and I have talked about it in the hallways, and that is when he's hitting those holes and he's hitting them hard, he's driving people back. And it's not like, that was one of the things in one of them, I think it was in the Mineral Wells game, he was hitting it a little tentative in the first and second quarter, but then in the third quarter, when we had the better offense going and everything, the stronger offense going, he really was hitting those holes and driving those tacklers back, and they couldn't touch him almost.
Yeah, I think Jason is figuring out exactly what kind of back he is. You have those elusive backs. You got those guys that kind of dance around in the backfield and can make those moves, and then you got those ones that just kind of power through and run over you. And Jason's definitely one of those kids that runs hard and can just kind of run over you. And now that he's starting to see that a little bit, I think he's starting to hit his stride, and we're going to see a big finish this year for him.
Another standout is your quarterback, number 14, junior Keon Butler. Tell us a little about Keon.
Keon's a great kid. He'll be a second-year starter for us as well. As a sophomore, he started and didn't get that offseason. Because of COVID, he didn't get the offseason his freshman year going into his sophomore year because we got shut down in the spring. And so, really last year we felt like Keon had a pretty good season last year, but we knew that he needed an offseason. We knew that he needed to be able to see the field. One of the things as a quarterback is you got to be able to see the field. You got to be able to count the numbers. You got to see where the weaknesses are, and a lot of that is done in the off season, either through film or getting on the field and looking at it. And unfortunately, that first year Keon didn't get that off season. So now that he has a full off season under his belt, we're seeing those improvements in him, and he's seeing the field a lot better. He's seeing where the mismatches are. He's seeing where he can take advantage of it. And then obviously he's a year older, so he's a year stronger. He's only a junior, so we're excited about that. Our junior class is pretty talented. We have Keon, we have Tyreek, we have RJ, and all three of those guys kind of hang out together on the offensive side of the ball, and they're friends. One of the big differences we've seen this year is that we do have a bunch of kids that hang out, and they're friendly with each other, and they like each other, and that whole team atmosphere is definitely built.
And tell me about his yellow cleats. Is that something that that's his style, his moniker, or what about those yellow cleats?
Keon's kind of a bright kid anyway, so he likes to stand out. So I think the yellow cleats probably fit him a little bit.
Okay. On the defensive side of the ball, one of the leaders and a great senior and having a great senior year is Caleb Clark. Caleb is one of the sons of another coach, Coach Clark. Tell us a little bit about Caleb.
It's funny. Caleb has been playing for us for 3 years. I had a coach ask me the other day, "Hey, who's number one?" We don't remember him. Caleb has gotten so much bigger and so much faster and so much stronger this offseason that he looks like a different player out there. He had a pretty good junior season, but he has started off his senior season making people notice him.
Yeah.
And he's definitely the leader of that defense, and has really worked hard to become the leader of that defense, and is having a great year at that inside linebacker spot.
Tonight is homecoming. What will we see tonight with the game against Carter Riverside?
Well, I'm hoping that we come out fast. I'm hoping that we come out and play fast. We're expecting a little bit of rain, which definitely changes the way that you plan for a game. We did some wet ball this week just to try to hold on to the ball so that we hopefully don't fumble the ball and keep going the way we have been. I think the defense is going to play fast again. One of the things that we pride ourselves on is 11 hats to the ball and getting those 11 defenders to the ball and making gang tackles instead of just one guy to the ball. So we want to continue with that. I think the kids are excited. Obviously, anytime as a head coach, you're worried about homecoming and the distractions that could be coming with it. But we're excited about it, and I think the kids are ready to play. This is our first Thursday game, which changes things a little bit as well. But we're excited, and I think you're going to see the Cougars come out and play well.
Talking about homecoming, I believe Keon Butler is the junior prince. That means he won't be in the locker room during halftime. What kind of challenges does homecoming make for the players and the coaches?
Well, kind of like I just talked about, the distractions of homecoming. You hope that the kids can turn those distractions off and stay focused on what we're there to do. We talk a lot about how the football game is the kind of the culmination point of the homecoming day, and that we want to make sure we take care of business on our end and win the game. Keon's a great kid. He, like I said earlier, he's come such a long way as a quarterback that I'm not worried about him being the homecoming king or homecoming prince or whatever he is up for. I think a lot of times we tell him to hurry up. So get out there, do your thing, and get back in here so we can talk a little bit. We want those guys to have a high school experience, and high school experience, part of that is going out and doing that stuff and being part of that homecoming court. And we actually have a couple of kids that are on that homecoming court. We have DK McGriff, we have Deshaun Hawkins, we have Keon Butler. And then one of our freshmen, I think, was the freshman prince or whatever they call it now.
I think it's a Duke, I think.
The Duke.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, well, he'll probably tell us to call him the Duke. So we're excited about it, and it's a great opportunity for those kids, and it's fun for them. We just got to make sure that we stay focused on what we're there to do.
Exactly. Now, you and I have been talking about broadcasting football games for almost 5 years on an internet radio station. That finally came true this year. And I love what Christian Soto is, I believe he's a two-way player because sometimes he's in on the offense and sometimes in the defense. But anyway, Christian, I think he said it best. And he said that our broadcasts are entertaining, not so much good play-by-play, but entertaining. Tell me what the coaches and the players are thinking about these broadcasts.
I've listened to the last two, the Poly game, and I listened to the Diamond Hill Jarvis game. I think you guys are doing a great job. Coach Jackson obviously coached football for us for a little bit while he was here. He coached some offensive line for us and did a good job for us. So he kind of knows exactly what he's looking at and what we're looking to do and kind of what our game plan is going into it. So I think that gives you an advantage, obviously, is having Jackson in the booth. The young man that you have up there, I believe,
Deshaun Dixon.
Deshaun has done a great job. It's been fun hearing him talk about the kids, and obviously he has a different look at it because he is a young man that hangs out with these guys and maybe sees lunch or eats lunch or knows them in the classroom. So he sees them a little bit differently than you and Coach Jackson do. And then, Paul, you are the voice of the Cougar radio. So, you do a great job, and we're excited to have it. I think it's fun to listen to. I think it's great that, my parents are listening to it. My parents are in Wiley, and they're able to sit down and listen to it and hear the game and feel like they're part of it. And, that's the best part about it is that, our families that are out of town, our families that can't get to the game are able to come in and listen to the game and feel like they're part of it. And I think you guys are bringing a great experience to us.
Well, thank you very much. Any final thoughts that you have about this week or about the program so far this year?
No, I think, like I said, you guys are doing a great job. We're excited about the homecoming game tonight. Hopefully we'll get out there and take care of business and have a great game. So we appreciate what you guys are doing, and I'm glad we finally got this to work too, where I could sit down with you.
Yeah, we hope that this won't be just audio next time. Maybe in a week or two, we'll have it on the video side so we can have what we all look like, and not just our voices.
Well, I think that I definitely have a voice for radio. I don't know if I have a face for TV, but hey, but we can do it if you want to. Whatever you want to do, Paul.
Sounds fantastic. I do appreciate it, Coach. This has been the Coaches Show on WHCR Radio. We appreciate Coach Moylan joining us today, and we will see you on the next edition.